Good morning. This morning I want to attempt to talk about the spiritual path. I want to talk about the aspects of this part of life which seem strange or unfamiliar to most people. And the question is, what is the spiritual path? What is so special about it? What is it all about? I'm a very practical guy, yeah, and I always try to ground things so they are understandable and experienceable for everybody. And with the spiritual path, it is a problem because we don't really know what it means. It is like this. In our life, in all of our life, from our birth on, our entire attention goes to the outside. And to the outside, I always also include the body. Yeah, everything which has to do with the body and the feelings and the thoughts, this is also outside. It's like you are sitting in your body, you, this awareness, yeah, you who is looking at this video right now, or listening to this audio, and you hear, you feel, you also feel the body, you also feel the emotions, you see, you perceive the world, you perceive yourself. That's all outside. This is what makes up this, what I call outside. And that's all we know. From this world, everything which is happening in the world, and that what we feel, what we perceive inside, that's all we know. And when the body dies, all this is gone. You don't feel a body anymore, you don't feel your feelings anymore, and you don't see the world anymore. It's all gone. But you're still there. So, the spiritual path is like looking into a direction, experience something which you don't know anything about. That what I call outside is all around you. If I say look inside, you don't even know what I mean. If I say your feelings and your thoughts are also inside. When I say inside, for you this is your feelings, your body. But this is not what I am talking about. The spiritual path is concerned with a direction which is, for normal people, not perceivable. We don't know anything about it. It's like we have to discover it first. We don't know anything about it. We have never looked into this direction. And it's tricky, you know? It's like it's about you experiencing something which has not been part of your world of experience up to this point. And usually the The spiritual path for a human being begins when another human being enters your life, a human being who already looks into this direction, into this inside direction, which is unimaginable for you right now. And when such a human being who lives in this mysterious inside, who lives in God, who lives in heaven, when such a human being enters your life, suddenly it becomes possible for you to also sense this new direction a little bit in a subtle way. Before that point, it was impossible for you. But suddenly, just because this other human being with his energy, which is different from yours, enters your life, it becomes possible for you to experience something yourself for the first time. The spiritual path is a path of experience. It is not a path of knowledge. It's nothing intellectual. And that's why it's so difficult to talk about. It's not nothing which can be described. You just have to experience it by yourself, like everything else in life too. It's like falling in love. Nobody can tell you how it is to fall in love. I mean, you can read books about it, you read stories about it, but it doesn't do anything. You have no idea what this is, until you fall in love yourself the first time. Then you know. And it is like this with the spiritual path, with this direction I'm talking about, this inside direction. When you come close to a medium of God, when you come close to a person who experiences for him or herself already, then suddenly you experience something in you which is new for you. I want to briefly talk about how the human brain works and learns, because this is very interesting, Usually we think the brain is like a storehouse of information and we can just put information in and then we remember it. But it is not that easy, If you ever wondered how the brain stores information, it's interesting. The brain, when it gets a new information, it can only deal with this new information if it resonates in some way with something the brain has already stored. That means only experiences, only sensations and knowledge which is in some way related to what we already know and already experienced, only that is perceivable for us. Otherwise, the brain doesn't know what to do with it. It's just not taken in. That's why teachers, when they teach something, they use all kinds of different senses. They use sounds and colors, images, smells, touch, because the more senses are involved in learning, the easier it is for the brain to attach a new experience to something which is already experienced in the brain. There's an interesting story when Columbus was discovering America, when the ships came close to the shore, there were humans living at that shore. But these humans could not see the ships. The ships were there, anchored very close to the beach. But the humans who were living there, they couldn't see the ships because their brains had nothing even remotely similar to such an appearance. There were these ships appearing on the water. They had never seen anything like this. And they didn't see it. And then Columbus and his crew took small boats and drove the boats to the beach. And then when the humans came closer to the beach, then they were recognized. Then they could see them. Humans, they knew. Ships, they didn't. They couldn't see the ships. And then slowly, after they got in contact with Columbus and his crew, slowly, then they could begin to see the ships as well. But before that, the brain had nothing to attach this new information, this new impression of a ship to something they already knew. And that's why the brain could not handle that information. And that's so interesting with the spiritual path. I was trying to describe how this path to the inside is a new direction which we have never taken before. We have no experience there. We have nothing which relates to that. We know nobody in our lives who have experience in that area. All the people we know usually in our life, all the people are concerned with the outside and with their body and their feelings and their thoughts. So this inside is of course in you. Yeah, that's what I in my videos call soul, heaven, God. It's of course in you. Yeah, it's nothing which you have to create, but we have no way to perceive it. We have no way to experience it because it's like a different dimension. It's nothing mysterious. It's nothing extraordinary. It's normal. It is only so mysterious because we don't have any connection to it in our own experience. And that's why it's so helpful when you meet another human being who already has the ability to feel this and who lives there, who breathes it. Yeah. When you come close to a human being like this, suddenly it's like the energy of that human being influences your own energy in such a way that through this bridge you begin to experience something totally, absolutely new. Yeah, and that's why it's often so helpful to have another human being like Jesus or like a guru or a master or anything like this in your life to help you on that path. Of course, we don't like this. Yeah, we live in interesting times where we have the feeling we can do everything alone. Yeah, you don't need anybody. That's the feeling, right? Yeah. We live in a time where we go to the store and buy everything we need, and we We don't see where the food comes from. We don't see the thousands of people who are involved in producing that what we buy. We are very far removed from nature, and we really think, I can do it alone. You know, it used to be different. Even the simplest things used to be possible only when humans work together. When they're building a house, hunting for food, surviving the night, that was only possible together. But in these convenient times, you just buy all that stuff. You buy a house, you buy your food. And you can really get this illusion that you can do everything alone. Of course, it's not true. It's just because of these modern ways of producing things, the act, how it is being created, is so far removed from us that we can't see it. Yeah. Otherwise, we would experience how all this comes about. And with the spiritual path, it's no different. We have this belief this is something we can do alone and we should be doing alone. But in my experience, this is not possible. You need the company of other people who are familiar with this new, and then you can experience this new too. It's very simple. It's nothing extraordinary. The only difficulty we have with this is our belief, I should do it alone. Yeah, and in this video I want to talk about the spiritual path, and the spiritual path is a path of experience. It's not about knowledge, I already said this, and the experience we can only get with the help of other humans who already experienced it. It's that simple. But of course our ego doesn't like it. You know, one of the things of the spiritual path is when you start going inside, that's the direction away from the thoughts, away from the outside, and all the thoughts and this body are part of this outside. Your ego is part of this outside world. And when you begin to look into this new direction, when you begin to move inside, you move away from the ego, away from your thoughts, away from this sense of I. Yeah. Some people describe it as they have the feeling they lose themselves, and that's a pretty accurate description. You really lose the sense of self. And the ego, this self, doesn't like this at all. And then it tries to resist this, and it makes you feel that this is really a dangerous path and something you don't like, and you don't want this. Yeah, that's one of the paradox problems of this path. Yeah, you feel attracted to it. You think, oh wow, this feels, I want to go there. And at the same time, you have this really, really strong resistance. Your thoughts tell you, you can't do this. And of course, your friends and your family and your neighbors too. But it is like this. There is no reason to do anything you don't like. People who hear about spirituality but who don't experience it themselves, they think, oh, I have to do this and I have to do that, but this is all things I don't want to do. But this is not how it works. when it happens to you, it happens naturally. It's just something you want to do. Yeah. In all of my videos, I stress one thing again and again. You have to be true to yourself. Yeah, you can only do what you really feel to do. Nothing else is possible. And this is not only the same on the spiritual path, this is essential on the spiritual path. Yeah. Like in all other areas of life, we have all these really funny ideas. What I should do or what I should not do, what I should feel or not feel. And since the spiritual path is a path into the unknown, this is a direction where you have no previous knowledge whatsoever. Because it is like this, your imagination has free roam. Yeah, you don't know the reality, so you imagine all kinds of things. And all the things you imagine are pretty strange and pretty scary sometimes. And of course they are not true, but that's what we imagine. Yeah. I want to take this guru thing as an example. Yeah. I have a guru. Since about 6 years I'm with my guru, and since 23 years I'm with my spiritual master, with Soham. And when people who don't have a guru or don't have a spiritual master, when they hear this, they think, oh, how strange. I can't do this. I don't want a guru. I don't want to be on the spiritual path. I can't do this. Yeah. But it is not like this that you decide whether you want to be on the spiritual path or not based on whether you like a guru or not. It is like this. You just live your life, and it might happen that one day you feel attracted to a person like a person other people call guru or master. And when that happens to you, for you it's the most natural thing in the world. You just want to do this. So it's not a question of ever, it's not ever a question of doing something you don't want. It's not ever a question of going against yourself. Never. If anybody tells you something like this, it's not true. Yeah. When the spiritual path opens up for you, it's what you want to do. Everything happens naturally, like in all other areas of life too. So that's why I stress always and again, you need to find your own way. You need to be true to yourself. And that's difficult for us because throughout your entire life, you have learned the opposite. Yeah? From childhood on, you learned to do what you are being told to do. You need to go to school, whether you like it or not. You need to learn something, whether you feel open or interested in it at the moment or not. You have to say hello to your uncle, whether you like him or not, and so on. From childhood on, throughout our entire life, we learn to do all kinds of things we don't really feel to do. Nobody teaches you when you're a child to feel yourself and to only do what you feel you want. Yeah, you don't learn this. And then you become an adult who is so used to do things, whether you like them or not, that you even don't know what you want. You end up in situations where you do things and you don't like them at all. Everybody knows this. And then when you hear somebody talk about spiritual things, you apply the same mindset, the same experience to this area, of course. You think, okay, I have to do this. If I want to go to heaven, I need to do this and this and this, whether I like it or not. In normal life, you can live normal life while you're constantly going against yourself. It is possible. 99.9% of people do this. Rarely is there a human being who goes another way. But on the spiritual path, this is not possible. You can't do this. If you go against yourself, if you do something you don't feel to do, it's not your spiritual path. It's something else. Yeah? On the spiritual path, you are forced to be true to yourself. Otherwise, you can't enter on that path. That makes it such a challenge. Yeah? You have to. The first thing which happens is that you meet yourself, and that you make friends with yourself, and with your feelings, and your emotions, and your energy, and you lose the ability to go against yourself. So, on that path, you can only do things you want to do from the bottom of your heart. And that's why they're all no problem. Yeah. When you hear about them in advance, you think, oh, strange, I don't want this. Yeah. But then when it happens to you, it's the most natural thing in the world, because you have the energy for it, you want it. Yeah? You want nothing else. So, the spiritual path is a path of experience, and it's just step by step, just like the rest of life too. There's nothing special about it. People get often confused, and it is because you don't have any experience about it. Yeah? And then you interpret the things you hear in a way which has nothing to do with reality. There's a saying of Jesus. He said, I am the way. Only through me you can come to the Father. And that's one of the most misunderstood things of what Jesus said. We think he means, okay, I am the only way, not Buddha. Yeah, my religion is the only true religion. No other religion knows the truth. Only through Christianity can you come to God. That's how we understand him, usually. Of course, this is nonsense. What he means is, you have your life, and you know nothing about the inside. All you know from childhood on, from birth on, all you know is the outside. Your entire attention goes to the outside all the time, without any exception. And you cannot turn inwards, as I said in the beginning. You can't turn inwards because you don't know this direction. And then Jesus enters your life. And suddenly it becomes possible for you to look into this direction. Suddenly, that which was impossible a moment before, suddenly becomes normal, like matter of fact, in the next moment. Just because a Jesus or another medium of the inside of God is in your life. And that's why he says this. He said, you can only turn inwards when you come close to another human being who already is on the inside. And when he talks to you like this, he's the only person in your entire world who is like this. Yeah? Look around you. Look around in your life. Yeah? There are only people concerned with the outside. There are only people who believe they have to take care of the outside, and that's all that matters. Yeah? Security, financial security, everything on the outside. These are the important things. Not one person in your outside world believes the inside is important. They don't even know anything about the inside. They can't even look into this direction. And when somebody talks about it, they think he's crazy. That's what Jesus said. Only when being like I am enters your life, then it becomes possible for you. And I'm the only one. He doesn't say, I'm the only one on the whole planet. I'm the only one in the entire history of humanity, be it past or the future. No. He said, as far as he was practical, just practically. He says, as far as you are concerned, your life, look around you. I'm the only one. Yeah? If you want to discover the inside, if you want to discover heaven, I am the way for you. There's no other way. He says, you can't do it alone. I am the way. And the world was very small for the people at that time. Yeah? They didn't know about the world. They knew their village and maybe the next town. That was it. So that's what Jesus said. You need a medium of this new, so you can discover this new. You have to discover it yourself, but it becomes possible and easy when you're close to a medium like Jesus. Or there are other mediums. Yeah? He didn't mean I am the only one. There are always mediums of this new, of this inner in the world, always. And when such a medium comes into your life, then it becomes possible for you, and that's a blessing. So you don't have to do anything you don't want. You don't have to have a guru. You don't have to have a master. You don't have to do anything you don't want. When you begin on this path, it happens by itself. Naturally. Step by step, life guides you. And how does life do this? It makes you want it. Yeah? It's just like when you fall in love with another human being. Yeah? If life wants you to go into a specific direction, life has its ways to motivate you. And the spiritual path is no exception. Yeah. And for many people, it's a contradiction. Yeah, it's really a contradiction. On the one hand, I say, you need to be true to yourself. Yeah, you need to be honest and only do what's in agreement with what you feel. And at the same time, I say, yeah, it's really helpful if you have the luck to have such a person in your life who opens this inner path for you. But when that happens, you will be in agreement with it. That's how it is. That's why it's so easy. Yeah? I always say it's so easy. It's so easy because you never have to do anything against yourself. Never ever. Another area which is very misunderstood and very tricky for many people is they hear about the spiritual path that acceptance is important. Yeah, I mean, Jesus says this all the time. Yeah, he teaches us surrender. He teaches us acceptance, and his entire life is an example of acceptance and surrender. And we think, wow, wait a moment, I can't accept things I don't like. And Michael says I should be true to myself. This is a contradiction. Why should I accept things? I will not be true to myself. So I want to talk about this for a moment. I had a video a few months ago where I talked about Jesus and where I talked about his amazing example of acceptance and surrender. And I talked about how even in his crucifixion, he was able to surrender and to accept. And I got a comment on YouTube about this, and this lady said, you know, when you talk about Jesus like this and about his crucifixion and about his surrender and his acceptance, you don't know what you're doing. You don't know what this triggers in me. When you give this example of Jesus, then the last thing I want to do is accept and surrender. If accepting means that something like this will happen in my life, the last thing I want to do is surrender or accept. And I'm very grateful for this comment because it reflects how we all feel about the subject. We have this, we feel that if we don't accept something, it will go away. It's not true, but that's our inner conviction. Yeah. That's the absurdity of ego. Yeah. Ego is something very childish. The ego thinks it controls the world. Yeah. The ego thinks it can do whatever it wants. And the ego thinks if I don't accept something, it is not there. Of course, the reality is just the opposite. Acceptance means that which is here, that what you feel, that you accept. It's already there. Yeah? It's not coming because you accept. But when you accept what's already here, then it gets easy. Then new possibilities open up. New energy comes. A new peace. And with it, strength and inspiration and new ways. But we really believe, if I accept, then more and more bad things will come into my life. I want to give you a very, very trivial example. You have a hammer in your hand, and accidentally the hammer slips out of your hand and it falls down on your right toe. And it hurts. It hurts really bad. Now there are two ways you can handle the situation. The normal situation is you curse yourself, you think you're stupid, why did I let go of the hammer? I don't want the toe to hurt. Yeah, I hate it. Why did this happen? You don't accept. You don't accept the pain. You don't accept the fact that the hammer slipped. This is something which shouldn't have happened. But the hammer slipped. The toe hurts. So you're not dealing with the reality, you're fighting it. You're fighting against yourself. You're fighting against what happened and how you feel. And And the second way is the hammer slips. Of course you don't want to slip the hammer, but it happened. Your toe hurts tremendously. And you're like, oh, my toe hurts. Okay. My toe hurts. And you feel the pain. You don't fight the pain at all. It's like you invite the pain. You feel it willingly. You don't think, why did I let go of the hammer? No. The hammer has fallen. You take care of what is now. You take care of the pain. You feel it. You don't fight against yourself. All your strength, all your awareness is with what is. And you can experiment with this today. If something like this happens to you, for instance, when you hurt yourself, if you are with the pain or with whatever the consequences are, like this, you will notice, oh, it hurts, but it's not that bad. And you will notice the pain goes away very, very quickly. When you don't fight, it's the easiest. Acceptance is the easiest way to deal with what is. Now, many people think that acceptance means saying yes to suffering, saying yes to being abused. And that's not true. This is how the intellect distorts something it wants to avoid. Yeah? The ego doesn't want acceptance, so it creates all kinds of really funny ideas about it. For instance, you are in a situation and you don't like the situation. Suddenly you notice, I don't like it here. I don't want this. And then people think acceptance means, I should stay anyway. I shouldn't change anything. I need to suffer through this. No, this is not acceptance. For me, it is like this. When I'm in a situation and I notice, oh, I don't feel well. I want to go. Then I go. I accept my reality. I accept I don't want this. I leave. If I can. Yeah. And that's not so easy, you know. Often you are in a situation where people expect you to stay. Maybe you have been invited to a party. Yeah. Especially with family, this is very tricky. And you go there and you notice, oh God, I want to go. I need to get out of here. And then you think, yeah, but I can't. Then my mother will be upset, or my friend will be upset. Yeah. What will people think of me? And then you stay. And then the intellect tells you, yeah, just accept how it is and stay. This is not acceptance. Acceptance is, I need to take care of myself now. I leave. And then you do this no matter what people think. Now sometimes you are in a situation where you can't change things. For instance, you want to leave, but you can't. It's just not possible. Maybe you're in an airplane and you don't feel well. You would like to leave the plane, but the plane is on 10,000 meters altitude. 30,000 feet. You can't leave the plane. And then acceptance means accept your inability to change something and make friends with your feelings. Jesus talked about acceptance, and of course it's misunderstood. He said, if somebody hits you on the right cheek, offer him the left cheek as well. That's acceptance. It means if somebody hurts you, accept the hurt. Don't fight it. He doesn't say, stay in a situation you don't like. Yeah? The situation if somebody hits you on your on your right cheek, it is a situation where you obviously can't avoid this. When it happens, accept it. If you're in a situation where you are helpless, don't fight. Accept. Jesus was put in front of Pontius Pilate. He didn't argue. He was sentenced to death. He didn't argue. He knew, I'm helpless here. And the best he could do is just accept and be quiet. Acceptance means not fighting, not against yourself, not against anybody else. And that's a tricky one for most people. When it comes to spiritual guides, like gurus or masters, that becomes especially tricky because then we think we need to accept what this human being says. I need to do what he or she wants. My own experience is I can only do what I want. I can only do when I'm in agreement. I have to be true to myself, always. Yeah. And a true guru never forces you to anything. A true guru doesn't want anything from you. A true guru doesn't need anything from you. And a true guru doesn't want to change you. He just is the way he is. And it's like what I told you in the beginning. His work is something he doesn't do. His beingness is contagious. That's what jumps over to you. It doesn't require anything on your part. It happens automatically. Yeah, all these things when it comes to the spiritual path, all these things seem very mysterious to us and contradictory. But they only appear like this as long as we are not at that point ourselves. And you don't need to worry about anything where you are not at right now. Yeah. Only be concerned of where you are right now. That's the spiritual path. That's how you come to heaven, so to speak. Accept where you are. Be where you are. Be how you are. That's the secret to spirituality. Be true to yourself. And I talk about my own life in these videos frequently to give you an example of how that can look like. I give you examples that I always only did what was in accordance with myself. I never forced anything onto myself. I don't have a spiritual master because I thought I should have one. It just happened to me. And when it just happens, it's just normal for you. No big deal. If it doesn't happen, don't worry about it. Yeah. The path to the inside is different for every human being. You have to accept, you have to discover it by yourself. Yeah. But it's a path of experience. And that's why knowledge doesn't help. There are many people who talk about ultimate truth. They talk about how there is no body and how there's no soul and ultimately there's nothing. Yeah. For me, this is not helpful. This is probably true in some way. Yeah, if you look at it from a philosophical standpoint, one could say this is true. But as far as I'm concerned, it doesn't help me. I have to be where I am. And I talk about those things which are helpful. Yeah. Not the things which have some philosophical truth in it. I don't care about this. I want to know what's helpful. I want to know what helps me on my next step. So you only need to be concerned about these practical things. Yeah. And they show up in your life by themselves. This is really magic. It's really convenient. Yeah. So whenever you notice that you have a problem, whenever you notice that you stress yourself out because you think, oh, I should be doing this, but I don't feel like this. Sometimes I hear people say, why should I have a guru? You talk about a guru all the time. I don't want this. Yeah. When you stress yourself out about something like this, it's totally unnecessary. Your life is the way your life is. Don't copy my life. Don't copy anybody else's life. I encourage you to be where you are, to accept yourself, to accept your life, your path. That's the easiest way. I say again and again, you can't do it alone. It's not possible to discover this insight, this path into heaven by oneself. It's not possible. Yeah. But how this discovery will happen in your life, who knows? Yeah. It doesn't mean that now you have to start looking for some imaginary master or guru or anything esoteric like this. Not at all. I talk about these things so when it happens in your life, you will know, that's normal. That's part of the process, so I can relax. Yeah? You feel totally strange because you're the only person in your world who has the inclination to look into the inside, or who suddenly has a person in your life who inspires you to go inside. And I talk about my own experiences, so you know, that's not as strange as I thought. That's actually something many people experience on that path. And that's why I'm talking about. Yeah. Basically, I want to open you up for what's happening in your life. Yeah. When your life comes to the point, excuse me, when your life comes to the point where this opening happens, where things in your life start changing, where suddenly you maybe have a mentor or some sort of human being in your life who inspires you to something unheard of. I just want to open you up to what happens in your life. That's all. I received a letter a few weeks ago where a person described to me, a person from New York, she had a long time ago, she had this amazing spiritual experience with a medium, what I was talking about, with a guru lady I was, and it was such a revelation for her. For the first time in her life, she could feel reality. She could feel the inside, this absence of problems. And so she knows this feeling, but she still thinks today that she should do this and should do that in order to find her path. Just because other people around her do certain things, but that's not necessary. The only thing which is needed is you feel your inside and you look, what's up for me right now? Not what's up for Michael or for my friends. It becomes especially tricky when you are on the spiritual path for a while, and then you have spiritual friends. Maybe you are part of a community of people who are all on that path. But in every moment, it is your path. In every moment, you need to follow your next step, not the steps of other people. Yeah. Sometimes you totally enjoy doing things together with other people. Yeah. Maybe all these people do certain rituals or sing certain songs or do certain practices, and you just love it and it helps you. And then this is good, because you love it, because you feel, oh, this is helpful for me, this is so nice. It's helpful and even fun. Yeah? But sometimes you have these friends around you and they do things and they say it's helpful for them and they say this is great, but it's not great for you. You don't have joy with it. You don't feel like it. And then to remain true to yourself, that's the challenge. Especially on the spiritual path, that's the challenge. And that's what I want to encourage you to again and again and again. A true guru will never demand anything of you. He just helps you to be where you are more and more and more. So, and that's what I'm doing. Just be where you are, stay where you are. And that's the guide on this path. In spirituality, because we don't know what that is, we have no own experience, we are in a way very open to the input of other people. And there's so much input out there, so many stories and so many opinions and so many beliefs, so many views, so many philosophies. That's all unimportant. What's happening for you right now? Where do you feel drawn to? Where do you feel joy with right now? What are you interested in right now? And this is also true for my videos. What I say, my words, are not important. I don't tell you some ultimate truth. But if you have feelings while you listen to me, if you feel joy, this is great, then listen to me. If you like it, Maybe you feel certain feelings you usually don't feel when you listen to me. Maybe when you listen to me, you suddenly feel what I talk about when I'm talking about insight, or heaven, or God. And these experiences you have yourself, these are the message. These are the guides, not my words. It's on the spiritual path, it's your inner experiences who are the true guide. Swamiji, my guru, calls them Anubhuti. It's an Indian, a Sanskrit word. And it means inner experience. It means your experience. That's the important thing. When I'm close to my guru, either when I'm close to him physically or when I feel him inside, when I open myself to this, it's not that he tells me what to do. I just feel myself what's right for me. That's the magic of a medium of God. Suddenly you know yourself. Ah, wow, that's the way. So I repeat, there's no need to ever go against yourself. And most people think the opposite when they think about spirituality. Yeah, they think it means now I do a certain program, I follow a certain path. No. You live your life step by step, moment by moment, and you're guided moment by moment by your own inner experiences, reliably. Just recently I talked about the subject also in a live chat, and there I also mentioned that this is exactly the reason why I don't accept money for what I'm doing. Yeah? Sometimes people approach me and they ask me, "Hey, Michael, can I have a private session with you? Yeah, I want to meet you and I will pay for it." Yeah, and I say, "No, I can't do this. I can't do this because I don't do anything. Yeah, I don't give you anything. There is no doing on my part." And that's why I can't accept money for it. Yeah, it's something which happens in you by itself. I'm not doing anything. I'm just doing what's fun for me. I do these videos because I love it. I love to do this. And I'm resting in myself. I'm turning my whole attention to the inside because I love it. And when through this helps you having a certain experience, I'm happy, but I don't do anything. It's not my own wisdom. I don't do anything. And when I would accept people coming to me and giving me money for this, I would support this idea they need something from me. And I can help them. My help is not needed. Just look inside. If you want, if you find it helpful to watch my videos, I'm totally thrilled. I love it. That's why I make them. I think this is how this miracle can be distributed amongst people. Yeah, this miracle of this beginning of turning inwards, this beginning of looking into the direction of the inside of heaven. Yeah. But it's not something anybody can do. And that's why also my guru and my master, they don't charge any money for this. It's free. It's God's. It's yours. Yeah. But I also invite people to support my work. I invite people to support my videos by donations, by memberships. Yeah. But this is totally voluntary. Yeah. It's not an exchange. It's not a trade. It's not that you give me money and I fix your life in return. It doesn't work like this. I do what's fun for me. And you experience whatever you experience. Who knows why? And if you find it joyful to help my work, if you feel like, I want to support this, this is cool, then I'm really grateful. Yeah, if you want to support my work, there is the possibility to become a member of dianmichael.de, and this means that you contribute a small amount of money every month. And this helps me, I pour all of my time, all of my energy into these videos. Yeah. And if people support me financially with this is a wonderful, wonderful help for my work. But it's all voluntary, and that's why I say, if you feel joy with this, then please, I'm grateful. If not, no problem. It's all free. Yeah. On the spiritual path, everything is free. Everything is voluntary. Don't let anybody tell you something else. So if you want to support my videos, on my website you will find information about how you can do this. There's a page called Membership. There you can read about it. And I'm very, very happy if you enjoy my videos. I'm totally happy if what I share sparks something in you. It's a mystery. I know that the words don't do it, but something happens anyway. When I sit at the feet of my guru, when he talks, often I don't even know what he's talking about, because he speaks Hindi and there's not always a translation into English or German. But it happens in me anyway, and that's the mystery I'm talking about. That which happens in you, and it's yours. Yeah, it's not something I give you. You're not obliged to me or to anybody. It's something which happens in you, and it belongs to you. So I don't know whether this made sense, what I talked about today. I find it very difficult to talk about this spiritual path and these spiritual things, but I can't help it. I just try anyway. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being here. I love you.